Zach, I think it's only right that we start in the AFC here, and we all know who in the AFC we have is the Buffalo Bills. I'm kidding, Miami Dolphins.
We do have the Miami Dolphins. And so how do we want to do this? Do we want to start with our top AFC East winner first?
Let's
on the list.
Let's go from lowest to highest. So start from who's gonna lose out, and then up the ladder.
All right. Well, this is fun because
let's start with
favorite
AFC
team, the Miami Dolphins, at fourth for myself.
You have any record predictions?
List it off. Oh, okay. Record prediction.
If you don't, it's okay.
Let me go probably 4-13.
Okay.
A solid 4-13 for the Dolphins. So, I don't know, man. With the Dolphins, they've probably had the most turnover in the entire league from last year to this year. Obviously, starting with the head coach, Mike McDaniel, he's gone. The entire coaching staff is gone. You get rid of Tua. You're paying him an insane amount of money to play for the Falcons right now. You cut Tyreek Hill as well. You're getting a bunch of dead money from him. You cut Bradley Chubb. You trade Jalen Waddle. You're losing all these pieces. Jalen Phillips, who was traded midseason last year. So it's a completely new identity for the Dolphins. They hire head coach Jeff Hafley, who at the time I wasn't huge on. I wasn't a big fan of this coaching cycle in general, besides John Harbaugh. So a lot of these new head coaches, to me, it's just kind of wait and see. But yeah, the Dolphins, they didn't have much spending money this offseason. They went out. Obviously, their big fish was signing quarterback Malik Willis, who I was hoping we did not sign during the offseason, because I was thinking we should, for one, roll with Quinn Ewers this year, and then bring in a guy like Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, maybe Dylan Gabriel or someone like that to compete with Quinn Ewers to see if you have anything there. And if you don't, no worries, move on to 2027 where the QB class is absolutely stacked. We decided to go the Malik Willis route. And actually, when the Dolphins, when they came out the contract for Malik Willis, I was actually pretty surprised because I thought he would get more. It's only $45 million guaranteed, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And another way I kind of cope with this is if there's anybody who knows Malik Willis, it would be Jeff Hafley, plus all the coaches the Dolphins stole from the Packers. So that gives me a little comfort that there's more continuation. So we'll just have to see how he pans out. He doesn't have great weapons right now. He really has Devon Achane, and that's about it. You have Greg Dulcich.
About Joe Stupid.
Yeah, man, he's going to get every ball. So the running game for the Dolphins might be pretty good. The passing game is what scares me. Greg Dulcich, you have him, who kind of revitalized his career last year. He just needs to stay healthy. Your wide receiver core is completely up in the air. You have Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert. You brought in a couple free agents. You drafted a couple guys. You drafted Chris Bell. You drafted Caleb Douglas. You drafted one of our guys, Kevin Coleman Jr. Just a lot of guys. You don't have a true number one, and you probably don't even really have a true number two. So you're hoping one of those guys will stick and can maybe be an everyday starter for next year, potentially. This year is more of an experiment. I like what they did in the draft. It's kind of hard for the Dolphins to mess up their draft because they had so many draft picks. They had a clear goal, was to get a new identity. So first of all, you address the offensive line. They go get Caden Proctor. They have another first-round pick from the Jalen Waddle trade. They draft cornerback Chris Johnson, who I wasn't big on at that spot, but I do admire they did trade up a couple spots for him, so they had a certain conviction, which I like when teams have conviction about a guy. And then my favorite pick, though, was Jacob Rodriguez in the second round. I did not think he would fall to that spot, so I'm really excited that that could be a potential cornerstone piece going into the future. But the Dolphins, they have some players out there. You know, we have Jordan Brooks, who's probably a top 10 linebacker in football. You lock up center Aaron Brewer, who's probably a top 5 center in the league. Devon Achane got his contract. So you're putting together core pieces, but you just don't have enough talent at this point. You're a young team. Your goal is not going to be wins and losses this year. It's to see what guys can develop and stick with the core of the roster next year, the year after, going forward. So I don't think it'll be a great year win-loss wise for the Dolphins. That's why I have them at last. And I just think the other 3 teams are more talented. So that's where I have the Dolphins. Who's your 4th team?
I'm going to go ahead and go with the Dolphins as well. I think you hit everything on the nail. I was kind of going back and forth between the Jets and Dolphins, probably more than you. You're higher on the Jets than I am. I really do think Aaron Glenn is a horrible head coach, but at the end of the day, roster matters. The roster construction definitely does, and at the end of the day, the Jets still do have more talent overall than the Dolphins. But I do think there is a world where you having Malik Willis and seeing what he was able to do last season with the Packers. I know his team is way more stacked in Green Bay. But at the end of the day, if you get a quarterback, on your team, like a Malik Willis, who potentially you feel like can give you more wins and help you win games, he's that's what he's going to do, man. He's going to get you more wins, more than you probably would have liked, which in this scenario, maybe not a bad thing, it just depends really at the end of the day what Miami's plan is for the future with their draft picks and everything. But I still do think they're probably going to lose out here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are a 4-13 team as well. I think I probably have them at that record as well. But yeah, so moving on to the 3rd team though.
Yeah, so my 3rd team, I was with you as well. I have the New York Jets, who I'm going to say it right after the draft, and I told Josh this. I said I wouldn't be surprised if they finished 2nd in the division and made the playoffs. Since then, I've toned it back a little bit. I think I was kind of on a draft high because I love their draft this year and last year. So I'm thinking probably 7-10 is what I give them this year. I do like what they did in free agency. However, I will say the construction of the roster is a little strange because on one hand, they did bring in some vets, and on the other hand, they're also a really young team. So it's kind of, they have 2 different, I guess, paths in a way, to where it's almost like the Rockets of, like a worse version of the Rockets for the NFL version. It's like you have all these older vets, but then you also have all these younger players. And it's just like, how do you mix that together? But they did do a lot of good moves to revamp their defense. They bring in Demario Davis, David Onyemata, Nashawn Wright, who I'm pretty high on actually. They trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick for a 7th round pick, which is great value. They trade for Devondre Sweat. They trade away Jermaine Johnson to the Titans, so he reunites with Robert Saleh back in Tennessee. Obviously, probably their most questionable move, they trade for Geno Smith. He's back with the Jets. But I really think they're building a good foundation of a roster for a potential quarterback next year. I think that's kind of their goal right now. They even drafted Kate Klubnik. Who knows? Maybe he turns into something. But yeah, man, they had a good draft. Man, it's kind of a shame. Like, if Dolphins ever got this haul, I would have been ecstatic if we had the same picks that they did. But they went David Bailey, who honestly, I wasn't as high on, to be honest, as most people, but I still think he'll be a really good player. Love the Kenyon Sadiq pick. They pair him with Mason Taylor, who they drafted in the second round last year. They get Omar Cooper Jr. at pick 30 or 31, but great value right there. I thought he would go mid-teens. And then you get D'Angelo Pons in the second round, who's just an absolute dog. But the only reason he fell was because he's small. But Duke can lock wide receivers down, so I love that pick. Yeah, man, it's like I feel really comfortable about their team. It's just the quarterback that really is messing me up. And to your point, Aaron Glenn is a little bit sus. There's some areas where I just need to see. I don't like how he had to fire his entire staff basically after last year. That's a little bit concerning. I think that's one of the things I look at with new head coaches is what kind of staff can you build around yourself? And that was kind of my issue with Brian Flores when he was a head coach, because for one, no one really wanted to work with him. And so he's hiring maybe guys who aren't ready for the roles that they're in. And so it seemed like that may have been a similar case to Aaron Glenn. So he brings in a new staff, but I still want to see more from him. I'm not going to say he's trash or anything yet, but he is definitely on the hot seat if he has another terrible year. And if you're the Jets and you go 3-14, 4-13, might as well bring in a new head coach along with your new quarterback next year. But, you know, if they show steps in the right direction, you know, be in the playoff bubble, not even make the playoffs, but I think that could be really good for them and could save Aaron Glenn his job. So we'll have to see about that. It is rough when the two shakiest parts of your team is Aaron Glenn and your quarterback position. It's usually not a great recipe, but the rest of the roster is what carries them to me, so I have them in third.
Yeah, I'm still gonna have the Jets in third as well. I'm gonna have them at a 6-11 record. The big thing to me, you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but the Geno Smith signing, man, is just really weird. I know they mainly did it probably because they obviously needed a quarterback at the end of the day, but I just don't like it. I just don't, man. I don't like the signing personally. And then I like I said, I still don't like Aaron Glenn as a head coach. The Jets to me is still just one of those teams as time goes on where it's just like there's just diamonds on this team and it's really rough to flesh them out when the most important position players you have on your team are just you're not evaluating or taking as much you're not putting as much value into those positions like the quarterback. Like, dude, as long as I've been alive, they've had issue with the quarterback. They need to get it fixed, man. Like you got to get a guy in. And I know they were probably hoping for Dante Moore being that guy going into this next draft, but that obviously didn't happen. So yeah, honestly, if I'm a Jets fan, I know it sounds horrible, but ideally you might actually want the Jets to underperform. You might want Geno Smith and Aaron Glenn to actually be really bad this season again, just so you can have another top pick and get the quarterback that you need, because I truly do think they are actually one good quarterback away, one good future QB away from actually being able to contend in the AFC East. And with how unsure, you don't really know how the Pats and Bills are going to be, in the future. Obviously, the Bills still have Josh Allen and that group of guys. They've been around in this division for a long time now. So they're usually consistently up there, but they never can put together a team that really solidifies, their ability to win the division or be even dominant in the playoffs. So they kind of go back and forth every year, dependent on, which other players are going off in that season. And then the Pats, man, like at the end of the day, they are coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. At the end of the day, like facts are facts, man, and they're coming off a year where they still had the easiest schedule of all time. So a lot of question marks for those two teams. If you're a Jets fan, I think you take one more hit this year and just pray you get a quarterback like a Dante Moore. And I really do think realistically, if you get a guy like Dante Moore, I think you're actually primed in a better position moving forward than you would be currently.
For sure, man. And it's not even lack of trying to draft a QB too, because they've taken their swings, this past draft with K. Klubnik, 6th-round pick, but still, even before the season, he was projected to be a number 1 pick, 1st-round pick, I should say, potentially the number 1 overall pick. But you've also drafted Zach Wilson, you've drafted Sam Darnold, you drafted Christian Hackenberg, going back, Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez, all these guys, but they just cannot find the guys. So I think, like you said, potentially next year, hopefully you're not in a bad spot to where you're picking between like 10 and 15. That's probably not where you're wanting to pick. But, they've had a lot of draft picks over the years. They do have draft capital to trade up. So that might have been their mindset. But here's the thing. If you're one of the top 5 teams with a top 5 pick, are you wanting to trade back in this draft class? I'm not sure. So you're going to have to hope maybe a team like the Raiders, who don't need a quarterback, the Titans, one of those teams finishes in the top 5. So that could be your trade back partner. But yeah, I'm thinking a lot of these teams at the top will take QB. So they're kind of in an interesting spot, like you were saying. But Josh, I'll let you take it. Who is finishing second in the AFC East?
I do think the Patriots are going to be second here. Hot take. I do think they are going to finish with a record of 10-7, which is still pretty good. But I do think they take a 4 hit. Like, I think they went 14-3 last year, so I do think they lose 4 wins here. Besides the AJ Brown move, which who knows how that's going to turn out. To me personally, you're bringing in a guy that's pretty toxic to already a Patriots team that's already dealing with some interesting things. I guess that's the easiest way I can put it. I can only imagine how Drake May's feeling right now, being in the scenario that he's in with what his head coach is going through. And I mean, how Robert Kraft is as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Patriots really made too many moves to really improve upon what they were able to do last year. Nothing super credible besides the AJ Brown deal, which you're kind of hoping he can be that major weapon for them that they're missing in that Super Bowl game, make big plays, which he did a lot with the Eagles when they were able to use him. But besides that, man, I didn't really see much. I didn't really see much of a change, in one of the big things that I felt like they needed, which was their O-line. I don't think we're going to really see a big improvement there going into this season. I think that'll hurt them a little bit more. I think they kept pretty much majority of the same roster. I don't think they had anyone major leave the squad I can't think of. Do you have anyone idea that I'm missing?
I think just Clavon Chason, I think, left, but I don't know. I think other than that, they pretty much have the same roster and just added at that point.
Yeah, and I felt like through the draft, they didn't really, I don't know, did you like their draft at all? I didn't really see much of I didn't really see much of a big difference in the draft either, to be honest with you.
No, and I'll tell you why I did not like their draft is it's not so much of the players they drafted, but it was the direction they were going.
For the positional, yeah.
Well, not even positional, but I think like so they drafted Caleb Lomu late in the first round. They drafted Gabe Yakis in the second round, and I don't mind them taking those positions. It's just I don't think those are day one ready guys. Those are guys more so. So you have Morgan Moses on the right side of your O-line, and you're kind of hoping in a year or two, once Morgan Moses retires, moves on, because he's up there in age, that Caleb Lomu takes that spot. And then, Yakis, he's pretty much a project. And, for a team that's coming off of the Super Bowl, why do you want guys that are going to take time to get on the field? Like, don't you want guys who can help you immediately once you're in this window already? So it's not really the players. It's more of just the direction that they're going in. So it was probably one of my least favorite drafts, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to put them 10 and 7.
Yeah.
Just because at the end of the day, man, if you go into the Super Bowl, I say it a lot, man. I've been saying it. Weakest schedule in NFL history. You kind of want to go into the season to prove that wrong, and hopefully, you can have another really good season out of the already current roster that you have. But I felt like they need to add more than just AJ Brown to this team to kind of up the ante a little bit, and they had the ability to. I just feel like they weren't as aggressive as they could have been. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty on par with everything. I also have the Patriots finishing second, and I would say I have them as well at 10 and 7. That feels like a good record for them. You already mentioned the AJ Brown. Coming into free agency, they had a lot of cap space, so I was expecting them to go crazy, just get all the top dogs. They kind of went in a different direction. They went more with, I guess, not maybe tier 1 guys, but more tier 2, tier 3, spreading out, positions across the roster. They bring in Romeo Dobbs, so he's going to get paired with AJ Brown. They bring in Elijah Vera Tucker, who is a good guard when he's on the field, but that's the thing is he has trouble staying healthy. So if he can stay on the field, that would be great for them. Draymond Jones, they take nose tackle, great run stuffer. So I actually did like that signing. And they get Kevin Byard, who isn't the same player he was, especially in Tennessee. Played pretty good in Chicago, but now he's with the Patriots. So that was a pretty good signing. Traded for Garrett Bradbury. So they really did try to fix the O-line. I'm just not sure if that O-line is going to look the same at the end of the season. Obviously, it won't because everyone's O-line usually takes a hit. Maybe 1 or 2 teams get a healthy 5 for most of the year. But they're taking swings on guys who are kind of injury prone, especially with Bradbury and Elijah Vera Tucker. But, I guess if you look at it that way with Caleb Lomu, at least you have a 6th guy to come in and could possibly play guard. But still, I would have went with a different direction there. You kind of already touched on it, but the Mike Vrabel situation, who knows where his mind is at. And yeah, man, it's just the schedule as well. Like the Patriots, they looked beatable a lot of last year. Even
a lot of close games too.
A lot of close games. They played really good against the Texans, but then the next game, I forget if it was a snowstorm or like a rainstorm, but when they played the Broncos in the AFC Championship, it's like, man, if Bo Nix was healthy that game, the Denver would have been in the Super Bowl. Pretty much no questions asked because it came down to a field goal, I think. But, man, I don't know. They're still a good team. I agree. I don't think they'll be as dominant. So I will have them as well at 10-7.
Yep.
Which leaves the Buffalo Bills. Josh?
I know it
Where do you
hurts
have them
for you,
going?
man. I know it hurts. I know it hurts you a lot, man. But at the end of the day, I think the Bills will take the division this year.
Choke again in the playoffs.
Unlike the previous, probably. Let's be real. It's a normal thing nowadays. So, but I do think we'll see the Bills take the division. Still a very good roster. I mean, same names as always. You have Josh Allen. You have James Cook. I mean, you still have Sean McDermott. I'm pretty sure, right?
No, they
That's right. They got rid of him. That's what I thought. Joe Brady. That's right. I forgot. Joe Brady is very interesting when he got hired, in my opinion. But as far as I know,
curious.
yeah, I was not expecting Joe Brady when he got hired. I totally forgot about that. As far as I know, if I remember correctly, though, when he got hired, Josh Allen was a very big proponent of him getting hired because, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure I heard that Josh Allen really enjoys his offensive scheme and what vision he can bring to the Bills. Which matters a lot, man, because, you know, they have some nice weapons on that side. Wide receiver, you still don't really have a number one.
Hey, they got DJ Moore, though.
That is true. And that could be big. I don't know what Joe Brady's whole premise is of using DJ Moore. But, I mean, DJ Moore, he's a nice vet to have in the room. You still have guys like Keon Coleman as well. Shakir is still there. I think they also picked up
Shakir's good.
I think they also picked up Josh Palmer. They picked him up as well. You still have the two tight end duo in Kincaid and Knox. So I mean, if DJ Moore can still have, you know, the production you hope he can have, then that's great. Keon Coleman, man, I don't know at this point if he's going to be a big addition on the wide receiver group, but if you have guys like DJ Moore and Shakir,
cooked.
yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Defensive wise, I mean, you got Bradley Chubb. You have CJ Gardner Johnson.
So mad at it to this day. How'd you go Buffalo? Whatever. Okay.
I mean, they have CJ Gardner Johnson, am I right?
They do.
Yeah. I mean,
Little
their
annoying
defense, I'm interested to see how the defense does. I'm really interested to see how they do without Sean McDermott because I feel like if there's been anything Sean McDermott has been able to do is keep the Bills defense, you know, very, I'm trying to think of the word, but at least, you know, relevant and a part of the game a lot more. But especially once they get to the playoffs, though, they do kind of get exposed on the defensive side. I'm not going to lie. But maybe that's a part of it. Maybe McDermott just kind of gets exposed a lot more in the playoffs. But, man, he's been the head coach for the team for a while, so it's a part of it, too. I totally forgot Toriano Pride is on the team as well. He's a backup corner, which is very interesting. I mean, I like their linebackers. I think the offense will probably be better once again for the Bills. I'm just really interested to see what their defense is going to look like without Sean McDermott, because for years people have argued that he's been majority of the reason why the defense has still been very valuable and, you know, very competent for many years, even with the additions that they've made and people that they've lost over time. So we'll see. But record wise, I would probably go with 12-5. I don't know. I don't think they'll probably get 13. I think they'll squeeze out in the division pretty close with the Patriots. Wouldn't be surprised if they go 11-6 as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of covered a lot of it. Defense, if they stay healthy, a lot of those guys, it's pretty solid defense. They get TJ Parker as well in the draft, who I thought is a good project, good fit for the Bills, too. That's the kind of situation I wanted him to go to. But yeah, I have them winning 13 in the division. What I think is really frustrating if you're a Bills fan is you're always going to dominate with Josh Allen in the regular season. As long as he's healthy, you're going to make the playoffs. The problem is, it's a bummer that you can't capitalize on Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson all missing the playoffs in the exact same year. That, to me, has to break the hearts of a lot of Bills fans, because that's not going to happen again. Those three aren't going to miss the playoffs in the same year ever again. So I think this past year was Buffalo's best chance to win, to not even win, but to make it to a Super Bowl. They could not capitalize on it. And so I think this is just going to have to mark the Bills and Josh Allen until they finally get over the hump that they just aren't playoff performers. And they've won some playoff games, but they just haven't been able to make it past that hump. And it's even more brutal when Drake May comes in his second year to the Patriots and makes it to the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I think they definitely needed a change from Sean McDermott. Definitely would not have went the Joe Brady route, but that's what they did. I think they could have easily got in a new head coach and then still kept Joe Brady. I don't think he's leaving anywhere else for a head coaching job or another offensive coordinator job, but who knows? Maybe not. They did go Joe Brady. We'll see how that defense is. I'm not sure. It'll probably take a step back, but yeah, I think they'll do what they do in the regular season, and we'll just have to see how they do in the playoffs,
man. Because to be honest with you, I did forget to mention as well, like, majority of the games that the Bills have lost in the playoffs, it's not even really Josh Allen's fault. Like, majority of it, to be honest, he kind of is like modern Peyton Manning in a way, in certain aspects, where it's just like his defense really does let up a lot, man. It's crazy. Like, dude, the divisional round against the Broncos, 33? You can't be doing that, man. You just can't be doing that. Like, I mean, you easily have Josh Allen, who's going to secure you a 30 bomb at least in the playoffs. And the Bills defense just hasn't been able to stop anyone. Like, realistically, ever since the Chiefs beat the Bills the last time, ever since then, dude, they have not been able to keep up defensively. Like, I can't even remember the last time they've had a moment in the playoffs where their defense has actually kept a team from outscoring their offense. And that's really their main issue. It's because they just haven't really been able to rebuild their defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is the defense for sure, but still, there's some games where it's like, yeah, you're just going to have to put on the cape and be Josh Allen, because a lot of people are calling
He does it a lot, man.
Football.
He does it a lot.
Well, okay, but Mahomes has done the same thing and has won Super Bowls doing it.
Yeah, but Mahomes is like,
and people are calling
possibly one of the great
Mahomes.
Whoa.
Right now,
I'm not.
Yeah, I would say half the people out
different
there.
tiers, man. Different tiers.
No. I'm willing to bet that at least half NFL fans have Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes currently today.
I mean, Josh Allen individually looks better, like, at least definitely recently, but it's like, like prime Pat Mahomes, like when they were on their winning spree for Super Bowls, I mean, there's really not much you could do. I mean, Joe Burrow even looked more competent against the Chiefs than Josh Allen in the games that he's played against them.
I guess what I'm saying,
But the Chiefs always do outscore them like crazy. The Bills' defense just can't do anything against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
At least
but if you're in that conversation for the best quarterback in football and you can't make it over the hump, that's an issue. You know, we can only say it's on the defense for so long. And yeah, it's true. A lot of it is on the defense. Josh Allen does play pretty well in most.
Yeah, I'm not saying
games.
all of it. I'm just saying a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think last year was the year for them to strike, and yeah, it's kind of a bummer. And I think even everyone kind of felt it too, because I remember when they lost that playoff game, all the posts that were coming out of just how bad people feel for Josh Allen, and that because last year was the year for them to do it, and who knows now, because you have, you know, Patrick Mahomes will be back, Joe Burrow will be back, Lamar's coming back, Drake May's there. You know, there's always other guys too. You know, you got Bo Nix out there. So, who knows, man? But luckily for them, I think they're in a pretty favorable division for them, you know, because all they really have to do is compete with the Patriots. And I kind of like their odds. So,
and as in like
both have the same four.
As in recent memory, they've done pretty good against the Pats too. So,
Yep. So Bills 1, Patriots 2, Jets 3, and Dolphins 4, and that's for both of us.
Oh, and I did just want to put out real quick. I did do the math and look up the stat. If you go through the Bills playoffs from 2020 till now, if you average out the opponent's points against the Bills in all those playoffs from 2020 to 2025, they lost to the Chiefs 4 times, the Bengals once, and the Broncos once. You want to know what the opponent's points averages out to over those six playoffs? 33 points.
Well, win the game. I don't know.
Yeah. The only one game I see off the bat that you could for sure blame Josh Allen on was the Bengals game back in 22. It was 10-27. That's pretty bad. That's bad. I've totally forgot about that game, but yeah, that I forgot about that one.
Mr. January, Josh Allen.
But yeah, 33 opponent points is crazy. Through those 6 years.
Yeah.